And we're live. Welcome everybody. Win Daily Sports NBA DFS pre-lock. As always, we got the 3 box tonight. We got me, we got Ghost, we got Adam. Only 6 games tonight. But again, a lot of value. We're going to have a little fun, a little FFVP, some cores, some props for profit. As always, follow at Win Daily Sports on all social formats. Make sure you subscribe. Hit the subscription button. You know the deal, right? Go to the website. But the reason why I go to the website is you read the article that these guys produce every single Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday by 10 a.m. It locks right there. It gets your NBA picks. I told Ghost last night, Adam's going to hear this again, and everybody's going to hear this again. We're not going to sit here and rehash the article. You need to go look at the article to get all the analytics, but we want to do a little something different, okay, instead of getting repetitive. So before we even start with the picks, guys, I got to ask you because I want to start the shows off with maybe a little bit of general talk, and I got to talk John Morant. And I got to ask you guys, man, like this kid, I know I watched a guy named Allen Iverson in my hometown who just took the city by storm at a young age, just took over. And I don't remember anybody like this quick. And again, let me know if I'm wrong, because I still took Kobe a couple years, right? Michael took him a couple years. LeBron, maybe, right? I always have hate on LeBron, so I apologize, but that's just me. So I kind of like put him in the with the blinders on. But Adam, let me ask you, John Morant, like right now, does he have enough? Number one, does he have enough to take Memphis to keep this energy going? And have you ever seen a kid this young play this great this fast?
Well, did you see Iverson on Twitter last night
with the jersey over the
that was pretty cool for a legend to be doing that. I mean, the thing, and I don't want to take away from John Morant because I think he's probably the most electric player in the NBA right now. Like when he touches the ball, you just know literally any outcome is possible because he's just completely fearless. He will drive to the hoop with just reckless abandon. It's not that Memphis hasn't played well without him this year. He has missed some time. I think they're like 12-2, and like they weren't beating up on tomato cans either. I mean, they had wins over Philly. They had wins over Dallas. They had wins over good basketball teams. So can Memphis make a deep run in the playoffs? Yeah, I think they can. But it's not 1,000,000% because of Ja. And like, I hate to like think that I'm taking away from him. He's a fantastic player. But that Memphis core has come together, I think, a lot quicker than anybody expected.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking, right, Ghost? It's like, I don't think it's not like we thought Ja was going to come and take over the league again. And I don't say this because I talked about it, but I was always a Ja over Zion guy. We've talked about this on the show, but just seeing him rise this quickly, this fast. I mean, Ghost, you're a basketball guy. You've seen some really good players in your time. Talk about Ja. I mean, is this hype for real, man?
I just need to see him win a playoff series.
Good point.
It's I'm very critical when it comes to top end athletes and putting them under the spotlight. For me, I don't want to go to the extreme and say that the regular season doesn't mean a thing, but it's pretty much that, man. Like he could dazzle me for 82 games. If he gets bounced by Nikola Jokic in the first round, having home court advantage, to me, it means nothing. He's right back to where he was last year. You know what I mean? Like, and we talked about it in the offseason preview show too. He was working on his 3-point jumper. He seemed even more explosive, if that was even possible at that point. And he's showing it this season. But at the same time, it's like Adam already brought up, their ratings are actually like their net ratings are actually better with Ja off the court. So it to me, I need to see it just highlights, or is it actually going to come to fruition and lead to playoff wins? Because if they see Denver in that first round and they get bounced, it's going to be right back to the conversation where it's, what are they missing and this and that, when at the end of the day, it's if you want to put a guy on a pedestal like that, he shouldn't need anyone else. You should be able to, especially with Dylan Brooks coming back for that lineup, hopefully as soon as possible. Desmond Bane's having a great campaign. Steven Adams has quietly been a rock for that lineup. Like, it's just that right 1-for-1 deal, that it was essentially like a 1-for-1 deal, Steven Adams for Jonas Valanciunas. And at the time it seemed pretty absurd. And Steven Adams is putting in work on the court, man. Like, it's not like he's going to go out there and
it's been a really good fit.
Yeah, like it's not like he's going to go out there and play 38 minutes. Like, and Joel has that capability. Steven Adams doesn't, but when he's out there for 25, 27, he's really efficient, man. And like you look at the way that he plays on the defensive side of the glass, and it's just quick outlets and that passing ability that he has to get those fast breaks started. Like, there's not many big men in the league that could do that. And I'm not out here saying that he's the best passing big man, but like he's probably top 5 right now. Like, for me, it's Joker and Sabonis are the clear 1 and 2 in terms of passing big men. Talked about that on the show yesterday, and Steven Adams has to be up there, man. Like, the way that this team doesn't work if they don't play in transition. Their offense is very stagnant. If they're playing a half court offense, it's very, very stagnant, and they're an extremely beatable team. But when they're pushing you in transition like that, it's tough. But they could fly up and down these wings. Obviously, Ja leading that charge, but none of that happens without Steven Adams' first outlet pass. So I just want to see Ja win a playoff series, and the way things are looking right now.
In fairness, he didn't win the playoff series, but in his official playoff series, 5 games versus the Jazz, they were overmatched, but he averaged 38 and 5. Right. I'm not sure how much more he could have done in that series. He needed
that brings that. Then I'm happy. I'm happy it got mentioned, because that was actually going to be my next point. Like, if you look at what Utah did versus Denver in the first round, and you saw Donovan Mitchell and Jamal Murray going back and forth for 50. Nobody really talks about Donovan Mitchell being what Ja Morant is right now. But Donovan Mitchell has proven that in the playoffs already. And it didn't result in a playoff series, and nobody talks about that. And there's a reason for that. If you don't win the playoff series, sorry, man. Like, that's just the way it works for me. It doesn't mean a thing. You could dazzle me for 82 games. If you're not winning playoff series, I'm not saying he's got to go out there and absolutely win a championship. Like, he's got to deal with Book and CP3. He's got to deal with Steph, and he's got to deal with Clay and Draymond, and he's got to deal with Joker potentially first round, maybe even a first round matchup 1-on-1 on Luka. Like, no matter what, he's going to be in tough, but he's got the pieces around him now. And while no, he doesn't have a Kevin Durant, a James Harden, a Kyrie Irving, a Giannis, a Steph, Clay, like any of those guys, they have a really good team, and they have a good bench on top of that. So it's the same expectations for me that this team is built quite similarly to the way that the Utah Jazz were built last season, with Ingles and Clarkson coming off the bench and being able to hold it down. It's the same thing for Memphis. They just have it in the front court. They got Brandon Clark and they got Kyle Anderson coming off the bench. And like, well, I don't necessarily absolutely love these guys. They get the job done, man. And they should be able to win a playoff series. And if they don't, it's going to be a big problem for me to be able to like really put him on a pedestal that everyone's putting him on right now. So I'm kind of hesitant to say that right now, that yeah, he's going to take over the league by storm, this, that. If he gets bounced first round, man, it's really tough for me to put him in that category.
And I will
at least right now. I'm not saying that he won't ever get there. It's just, he's still very young. He's in the extremely early stages of it. It's like this is what, year 3 for Ja, if I'm not mistaken, or like, so for me, it's like putting him up in the pedestal. Like, this is still Steph's conference. CP3 hasn't retired yet. You know what I mean? Like, Devin Booker is only 2 years older than Ja. He's been in the league 6 years longer than he has.
Isn't that crazy?
You know Think about that. It's like Devin Booker waltzed into this league as an 18-year-old.
Wow.
And it's like, and you know, people kind of forget that. And you're seeing what Devin Booker is doing in Phoenix now with B3 off court. And he off. If he was in any other market other than Utah, because no offense if any of the listeners are from Utah, I feel like no one in Utah watches basketball. Like, if he was in any other, if Donovan Mitchell was playing in Madison Square Garden for 41 games of the calendar, everybody would be talking about Donovan Mitchell. You know what I mean? Like, that's where it's tough for me to put him in that, you know, this guy's going to take over the league. Like, until this wave of generational talent, the Durants, the Currys, Chris Paul obviously coming, you know, closer to an end than Curry and Durant, but until they all leave the league, man, like, it's not his league yet. And there's also somebody that has MVPs, Defensive Player of the Years, Most Improved Player, NBA Finals ring, NBA Finals MVP, and Giannis Antetokounmpo is still in this league too. So that's where it's like, it's really tough for me to put him in that category.
I keep hearing all these people, oh, no, he's MVP. He's not MVP. You can't look at those ratings. You can't look at those ratings like on and off the court and look at Jokic, look at Embiid until Harden got here, look at Steph Curry. You can't compare those guys with him and say he's the MVP. I agree.
That's the thing. Like, you can't, like, I understand that it just says that, oh, well, it's you can't penalize a guy for having a bad team and this, that, and I agree with that. You can't penalize somebody for having a bad team. When the Warriors won 70 plus games, and there's no reason to say, well, Steph's on MVP because he's playing with KD and Clay and Draymond, and like there's no reason to not say that he was an MVP. He had a ridiculous season, right? But at the same time, it's like it's pretty tough for me to say, well, they are literally better with you off the court.
Right.
Their ratings are better with you on the bench or not playing in that game at all than it is with you on the court. So
it's weird.
That's where it ends up being a bit tough to say, like, yeah, I'm not saying he's not an MVP candidate, but we can't go out here and say, oh, he's got to be MVP. He's taking over the league and this, that. Like, there's still guys that
barely.
Yeah, like it's
like
right now. If you told me without thought, I can easily name you 5 guys that I would, if I had a ballot, that I would put over John Morant right now.
Listen,
just off the top of my head, I would easily say 5 guys.
Yeah,
exactly.
I completely agree. I'm just saying from an excitement standpoint, I look at in Philadelphia right now, just because I'm not just because I'm a Philly guy, but because I look at what Tyrese Maxey's been able to do at a young age, just to inject that young energy, that fearlessness out there, and that's what Ja's doing right now. So it's good. Listen, one thing I think we all can agree on, it's fantastic for the game of basketball when you have young guys like this to step in. Trae Young, I mean, Luka Doncic is young. People don't even realize that. We're going to start talking about him in a second. So it's just really exciting to see. So I'm really looking forward to the rest of the season. And that's 18 to 20 games of job for absolutely for real. But let's get right into core. We talked about this last night. We're going to try to do like fiery show here, right? So nobody wants to watch a show for 45 minutes. What they want to do is they want to get their picks. They want to get their quick analysis, their quick takes, and throw their own opinions on as well. So we'll get right into the cores. We had a good night last night. It was very, very productive. Almost had a big night. Sabonis let us down just a tad. That's okay when it came to the prop market, but we're going to get back on that. We're going to get back on the snide tonight, 100%. So I'll just start off right off the bat and go with my core last night. I did a little something different last night. It worked. I'm going to do it again tonight. Last night was Lonnie Walker at 4,500 in my core, who did very well. Tonight's going to be Luke Kennard in my core at 4,600 to do very well. Again, I'm a big Christian Wood guy. I talk about this all the time. I like Christian Wood. And whenever I can get Christian Wood under 8,500 for me, especially against a Clippers team that, Ghost has said this before, not the tallest guys in the world. I'm not worried about Zubac at all. Christian Wood's going to get a lot of play tonight. So for 8,100 as my center, I feel very comfortable. And then to make my man Ghost happy, I'm going to jump on Scotty Barnes wagon tonight because as you heard me last night, anybody who plays Brooklyn is fair game. You already see this is the home and away series, right? You've seen it last night. You see him explode last night, which Ghost had called on this show live. So I know it's back-to-back. I don't care. Brooklyn stinks when it comes to defense. So I'm 100% all in on Scotty Barnes and my core. And listen, Steph Curry, again, this is what I looked at with Steph Curry. So I was between, be honest with you, number 1, 250-point DK games back to back. The guy is a madman right now. He really is. I think it was the pregame warm up where he shoots like 18 shots in a row and just hits every single one of them is just mind boggling to me. But this is an MVP candidate going up against Minnesota. I know they're playing away. He's 10-8. So the reason why he's leading my core is I know everybody's going to jump on a Luka wagon, and rightfully so, because the Lakers stink too. But I look at a $1,200 savings that dropped from Luka to Steph, and I'm going to take that $1,200 and I'm going to inject that back into my mid-tier pricing, which I feel is going to give me more of a benefit than throw a Luka in there. So that's where I'm going. Curry, Barnes, Wood, and Kennard, a little different. We like to get different here, especially Jigsaw. So I like this. So we're going to go swing right to Adam because Adam wasn't with us last night. He was with us in spirit here. But Adam, some interesting plays here to talk about.
Yeah, so, I mean, Luka and Gafford are the top 2 owned plays on the slate, at least as of right now. We are waiting for a ton of news. We need Toronto news with FFVP, OG Anunoby. Brooklyn might be sitting players. Anthony Edwards is questionable. Kevin Porter Jr. is questionable. So we need a lot here, guys. So this is a really good night. The way the slate is laid out, the Washington game's at 7, Boston game's at 7, which I don't have a ton of interest in either of those games. guys, me and Ghost talked about this today, and it might have been in our chat, so maybe we didn't drive home Discord. People are not reacting to how good Boston is defensively anymore. Like, there's a bunch of Hawks towards the top of the ownership grid, and I don't understand why. It doesn't make any sense to me. Boston's been one of the best defensive teams in the league for a good 2 months now. This is not a spot that I want to be stacking Hawks, even if John Collins remains out, which is probable. So it's a really good night to be paying attention the whole night through, because we might not have that Houston news before the slate logs. We might not have Anthony Edwards news before that slate logs. Leave yourself some flexibility. So, a guy like Gafford, make sure he's in your center spot and leave a lot of room for your lineup to be making moves after log. Because if Kevin Porter Jr. is ruled out, Schroeder is one of the best plays on the slate. If he plays, and I've kind of got Schroeder in my lineup, I need an easy pivot, I'm just going to rock Dinwiddie with Luka. Listen, the Lakers can't stop squat, okay? they can't. They're terrible defensively with Anthony Davis off the floor. And Spencer Dinwiddie's 80 minutes so far as a Maverick, almost half of them, or excuse me, about 32 minutes out of 83 have come without Luka on the floor. They're using him as that main scoring option when Luka's not on the floor. So even if this game does get out of hand a little bit, which is possible with given the Lakers situation, I don't care. Dinwiddie's still going to be able to hit his 6X, and Luka at 12K. If he plays 3 quarters, he could probably hit 6X against these Lakers. So I'm perfectly fine playing these two together in GPP.
Yeah, I love. Listen, I talked off air. I mean, number one, great point about Boston, because I did not notice that. That's something I learned from you guys as well, because you guys bring up all these analytics. So as good as a team that they are being defensively, I mean, Al Horford, as much as I hate the guy, he does give him and Robert Williams give them a pretty nice formidable force down low. So they do. And listen, whenever you have a team with Marcus Smart, they're going to be good defensively. So, and Jason Tatum is a very underrated, stellar defender as well. So, and a point about Dinwiddie, you'll see that later. Why, it's hard not to ride Dinwiddie right now. It's a great point too, as being a secondary scorer, which is something they desperately needed in Dallas. So if they can get him in that role, it's huge. So Ghost, it's funny because we all, between me, Ghost, Adam, we all have, kind of different players, but we all gravitate towards one or two of the same. So Ghost, you got Luka right off the top, man.
Yeah, I'm all in on Luka tonight. I hit the lock button on Doncic. The only thing that would make me change that is if Ant doesn't go, I will be going Steph and Towns. It's the one and only thing. I'll get that out of the way right now. So don't say I didn't tell you in Discord or anything like that. If Anthony Edwards doesn't play in this game, that's the one and only thing that might make me consider. I'm not saying I'm going to do it. It will make me consider going off Luka to Curry and then putting Towns over Ant in there. Daniel Gafford's a lock button. It's the only player I'm playing in the first 2 games on the slate. Atlanta-Boston is a full fade for me. That game is beyond gross. It grades out terribly. And Boston has the best defensive rating in the entire league this calendar year. So since January 1st. I don't get it. Do not play Hawks tonight. It makes absolutely zero sense. If it burns me, I will sleep like an absolute baby, because that is the worst spot from an analytical perspective that I've seen in probably the last 6 weeks. So it's going to be a no from me on that. And then if I'm not playing Steph, which is the scenario that I'm operating under right now, assuming that Ant is a go, I need some Warriors exposure, and I need it in the form of, it's gross, but it's got to be
Andrew Wiggins, all-star.
Gary Payton II. And I wanted to put him up there because if this is the case where Gary Payton II is mega chalk, I am full sending it on Jordan Poole at 5K. He has played some mediocre basketball as of late. They need him in a game that is trending towards the Warriors right now. But if Ant goes, it's going to be a tight game. This game was essentially a pick 'em the entire day, and now heavy money's coming on the Warriors. It's making the line move quite a bit, but and Gary Payton II does not have the offensive upside as Jordan Poole does. And if everybody in the field is playing Gary Payton II, I will highly consider Jordan Poole at only 5K there. But pretty much to sum up the core, it's going to be Luka lock button. The only thing that makes you change that is if Ant is out, I'm possibly going Steph with Towns on the way back. Gafford's a lock button. If you're playing Steph, ditch the other Warriors. You don't need them because you need Steph to outscore Luka. and you need some to round it out. You have 8 guys in the lineup. Read the article. You'll be able to see who I'm playing. There's only a couple guys that fit. It's Raptors exposure, and then round it out 1 Clipper, 1 Rocket. Head to the cash counter in the morning.
Head to the cash counter. I like this because you talk about Gafford, right? And we'll get right to the FFVPs because have the exact it's a consensus, right? I put this in, like I said, we put these in. I put in Gafford at 3,600. I go to Ghost FFVP and Gafford 3,600, right? I mean, it's obvious right in front of your face, man. It's right in front of your face. I mean, just look what he's done the last 2 games. Are you really scared of the Detroit Pistons when they pivot from Stewart and they go to Kelly Olynyk, who stinks? Are you like seriously? Let's think about this, right? It's right there. You got to take it. It's an easy money and run right there. We hit both FFVPs last night. Gabe Vincent, Thad Young, both over 20 plus points at a low price point. This is a no-brainer. This could, I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking 30 plus tonight for Gafford on DK. 30 plus DK points, I think. I mean,
good matchup against Isaiah Stewart. It's gonna you have 2 foul prone centers going up against one another. So whoever comes out of the gate playing more aggressively, one of these 2 centers will have 3 fouls at the end of the first quarter, or at the end of their first run, essentially. Whether that's 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes, we don't know. But one of these centers, whether it's Gafford or Stewart, will have 3 fouls. And if it's Gafford, it happens. That's what it is. You can't predict foul trouble, but one of these guys is going to get into some major foul trouble early on in this game. So it's a good matchup for him. He's just got to keep his hands outside of Stewart's face, and we'll be in business.
I like it. I think it's going to be a good night. I could already feel it. It's going to be a good night. It's going to be a good night. So speaking of good night, let's get right to the props for profit. Again,
real quick,
hashtag props for profit. Go ahead. What do we got, Adam?
Before we jump in there, just an alternative. Because Gafford is so chalky, he's literally the highest known player in the slate. I'm going to throw Dwight Howard out there.
Ooh.
He's only 4,300. Dallas has a terrible interior defense. He's been starting for the Lakers with no AD. These past 2 slates, he's been stone chalk. Now, he was 3K both those slates. I get it. The risk is a little bit higher at 4,300, but he also played 26, 22 minutes and has hit 21 and 44 DK points. He's like under 15% on this slate, which doesn't make a lot of sense given how everybody wanted to fall all over themselves to play him the past 2.
I like that, and there's been some rumors out there. Maybe he gets bought out, somehow he works his way back to the Sixers. So, who knows? I think I'd rather have DeAndre Jordan, but I don't know, man. We'll see. But I like that because we talked about this the other day. I mean, you talk about the amount of rebounds that he's been able to get, and right now, who else do they have? That's the thing. Like, who else do they have? So he's playing a ton of minutes.
He's playing plenty for 4,300 against Dallas interior.
Yeah, isn't that the truth? 100%. So there you go. You got Daniel Gafford for 3,600, and you got a nice pivot by Adam to Dwight Howard for 4,300. So when you're getting them lineups, listen, you're going to throw out that Luka in there. You're going to throw out big money names like Luka and Steph, and you're going to have some of these guys. So 1 or 2 of these guys exposed in your lineup, if they're exposed the right way, it'll only help you. So let's get right into props for profit again. Hashtags props for the number 4, like the 4 horsemen. Profit, okay? Props for profit. Had a lot of guys tweeting out there last night. Greatly appreciate it. Let's keep it going. Let's keep the thread going. If you got an FFVP, hashtag FFVP as well. And he got it. We try to stick under $4,000, but we can get between 4 and 5 too. If the guy is very valuable, has a great story, like Adam just said. So look out for those guys as well. Tonight, let's go right to you, Ghost. We'll go to you first. You got a couple last night, just missed on that Sabonis, man. He didn't start off well. I don't know what happened.
He had 3 fouls. He had 3 fouls in 11 minutes, right? So
there you go.
He had
that'll hurt.
He had 11 PRA at half. So the fact that he even got that close, he had 26 in the second half. It would have been a ball winner, but
yeah,
it's all good. It happens. We cashed with what was the other one? I'm trying to think. Oh, Halliburton PRA. That almost happened in the first quarter. So
we both thought that was a no.
All
Halliburton was no brainer.
He was at like 23 after the first quarter. It just made no sense. It made no sense.
So just dictating right off you did last night, you go from your core right to your props for profit, right to Luka. This is, I mean, over 9.5 assists. I mean, how much? I mean, listen, do we really have to talk about Luka again? I mean, it's plus money. It's under 10 assists. I mean, he's getting 10, but the number's over 9.5. But come on. I mean, this is a no-brainer bet, in my opinion, right? I mean, is there anything else to say, Ghost?
Luka triple doubles tonight.
Oh, there you go. Triple dub. What I wonder what that is. I have to look at that.
It was plus 200 when I looked earlier.
Luka triple doubles
On
tonight.
DK at least.
I like that. Luka triple double. And you're gonna go cat. Over 20. Oh, that's a nice
One of the
number.
man. It's
That's a nice number.
I like Ant a lot. I bet both of these. So I took Ant over 19.5, and I took Towns over 23.5. The Warriors have no interior. Draymond's still out, obviously nursing that back injury. Of course, it's really bothering him. So hopefully he's getting better. But Towns over 23.5 should be able to dominate the interior as long as Ant doesn't play hero ball. And if he does, well, I took Ant points also. So I got both of these. I have them both projected well over their number. Ant is at 19.5 at minus 110. Make sure you shop around because the books are pretty tight tonight. So make sure you shop around getting your best odds. Ant over 19.5, Towns over 23.5. I like both of those.
I like that. Again, if you're going to shop for your lines, make sure, again, sponsored by the Sharp app, make sure you go download that Sharp app, your one-stop shop for all things sports betting. You can search all the books in one spot, get you the best line, obviously. Adam, you're going with a game tonight, huh? Raptors -9. I like that.
Yeah, this was a tag team effort with Ghost because I saw it and I liked it and I kind of talked to him about it to confirm. It's off the book right now because Andre Drummond just got ruled out. But we don't really know what situation is on either game, so I threw this in the Discord. I'm comfortable if it jumps to 10 as long as Van Vliet is back. But you're gonna have to hit this quick because there's gonna be a lot of updates. Anything 10 or under, I'm still okay with.
I like that. Yeah, no, 100%. This is definitely, and I know Ghost knows, when I talk about Siakam and the Raptors, even though I'm playing Barnes tonight, they hurt me a lot, but I completely agree with you on that.
We've seen the Nets just get torched without their main guys lately. They're just getting
killed.
They're getting bludgeoned almost every game.
They can't figure out Toronto's zone. We talked about it yesterday, and I'm hoping nobody forced a run back, and it's exactly what I wrote yesterday. The only way to beat Toronto's zone is with a shot. Patty Mills shot 1 for 8. Who's gonna throw up threes? Bruce Brown? Like they don't have the shooters that they need right now.
Nope.
So they're gonna get waxed again. If the only guy that could beat them tonight is Patty Mills. That's it.
And that I feel pretty comfortable taking a spread if Patty Mills is my lone concern.
Exactly.
No disrespect, Patty Mills. I mean, he's a lot better at basketball than I am, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not sweating Patty Mills beating me in an NBA game.
Yeah, sorry, Patty. No disrespect, but you just ain't gonna do it. But one guy that can shoot is my man Luke Kennard. You see him in my core. Listen, Adam, we had this the other night at over 2.5 was plus 140 tonight. You could tell how much plus 105 because they're starting to catch on to the Luke Kennard train.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because last game against the Rockets, I passed it because it was minus 140 for 205. And he shot 1 from 7. I'm like, whoa, stayed away from that fishy line. I'm glad I did that.
Wow.
But, I mean, listen, Kennard's not going to shoot 1 for 7 on most nights. And if you're giving me 3 threes against Houston Rockets at plus money, I'm going to take it every single time, and I'll let it fall as it falls.
Yeah, no, 100%. I completely agree. And, we talked about earlier, we talked about couple guys, Steph, Dinwiddie, you're going to see that trend. I'm going to go Steph. I'm going to follow exactly what Ghost does in the sense that he goes after the guys in his core. He's so confident in the core that he's going to go with them again as well from the prop market. So I'm going to go Steph Curry. He sneakily has hit this number the last 2 games in a row easily, plus 100. So over dimes and boards. So again, he only has to get, I'm not expecting maybe 3 rebounds tonight, but I'm expecting double-digit assists from my man Steph tonight. So I can see definitely a 11 to 12 assist game, maybe 3 or 4 rebounds. I think, again, plus money. I really like this. Now we're going to go on the Dinwiddie train. So number one, like we said, we already talked, this number is ridiculous. We both talked about this. Over 10.5 points, minus 110. I listen, I don't understand it, why it's like that. I have no idea. And Adam, forgive me if I Were you both with the over 10.5 or the threes?
No, I was over the 10.5 with you.
Let me say,
And
okay.
I honestly think we talked about it off air. I think he's close to that at half.
Yeah, I put it in the wrong one.
He's going to be sitting at 9 or 10 points at halftime.
I mean, like you said, he's doing exactly. He's being that secondary scoring option, and he's already hit this his last 2 games with ease.
I mean,
right?
He's shattered it. 20 and 24 points. He's taken 12 and 14 shots. Dinwiddie's a talented player. Like, he's not going to be the lead dog on a good team or anything, but he can be productive. He can score in the NBA, and that's all I really care about tonight.
That's all we want. Just score, man. Put that money in our pocket. And speaking of scoring, you've seen it. I gave you a tease right here. I'm going to go over 1.5 3 points made plus 140 for Dinwiddie as well. Listen, with the scoring, he's shooting a lot, right? He's shooting a lot. And we talked about this as being a secondary scorer. So if you look at his 3-pointers, again, he shot 8 the last 2 games. He's 2 for 4, and then he's 3 for 4. So, but again, his 3-point attempts are going up as he feels more comfortable in this Dallas secondary scoring option. So I feel like tonight, this could be a 6 or 7 3-point attempt night where he gets about 3 or 4. So, he should shatter this number at plus 140. And as always, I get a little weird. I get a little jigsaw crazy. And I find these DK specials that, this one's a really juiced up. Like Ghost told me, I don't know, I juiced the 1 up on the 3s. It's really juiced up. Okay. But it's a plus 1,800, right? You just seen Adams. Now, here's the thing, right? That now, again, they have a plus, I think it's plus 400 for Mars and Jackson to hit 3 3-pointers made. So Reggie Jackson there's a love fest tonight. And I don't, it's just too much for my blood, too much money. I think Ghost said the same thing. I find it hard to spend over $8,000. Okay, when I can get other point guards that are just as good in that range, right? But he's going to shoot. This is playing Houston. We've talked about this. Houston, they stink, right? They really do. Every game is almost a blowout. And again, it's going to be a blowout because they're going to score a ton of points. He's only hit this 1 time all year. I'm being full transparent. Only 1 time, but he did shoot 6 against Houston last game. All right. He shot over 6 attempts in 3 the last 5. Has he hit 4? No, but he's hit 3. So I'm going to take that extra push. It's plus 1,800. And I'm going to go Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris. Okay. And again, Marcus Morris, I feel more comfortable with because he shoots up a lot more 3s. He's actually hit 4+ 3 or 4 times over the past 3 or 4 weeks. So he's hit this number. Again, this is a full jigsaw weird mentality that I look at this game, bad team, Clippers shooting a lot of shots, and these guys being halfway to this number. So again, don't bet the mortgage on him. Call 1-800-GAMBLER if you got a problem. But all I'm saying is plus 1,800. You throw a couple shekels on there, and you never know in a props for profit what may happen. So, Adam, that's a long shot, ain't it?
A little bit, yeah. So before we get moving, 2 things. One, Van Vliet and OG just got ruled out for the Raptors. I'm still perfectly fine taking -9. Might even get it to shrink a little bit now. But again, this next team still doesn't have anybody. They're still trash without their guys. And then let's make sure we get to some questions before we get on out of here.
Yeah, so we got a lot of people starting to load up on a Gary Trent wagon, right? Because now all of a sudden with FVP out, obviously, Brian checking in saying Thad Young again for FFVP. He was good last night. Can he be again? We got Jimmy checking in. Luka, Kennard, Barnes, Wagner, Gafford, Schroeder, Trent, and Beverly. A lot of people asked about Zubac. So let me say, what everybody's asking about Zubac. Do you play Zubac tonight or not?
I probably can't at 6,200. I know he shattered the slate last time out. He has 6x ability even at 62, but that price makes me very nervous for a guy like Zubac.
Yeah, I get a hard time. Those price points
a little
are tough.
expensive for me.
Yeah,
you have. I know Jimmy played him, but like just an example, you have Gary Trent for 6,400 to put it in perspective. Like when I'm spending that money, you have Andrew Wiggins, Gary Trent. You just have much more trustworthy players in that price range. I'm not going there with Zubac tonight
Right.
myself.
And we just talked about Daniel Gafford at the center position at 3,600, right?
Yeah.
So why pay for Zubac? So I mean, and Ghost, a couple people asked about Precious. All right, do you go in on Precious tonight? Is he a commodity tonight?
I was chasing a bit. I played him yesterday out of nose because I said if Thad Young outscores Precious, I'm absolutely cooked because Thad Young was like 60% rostered and Precious was like 0.6. I'm pretty sure it was only me in that contest that played Precious, but I ended up working out just fine. He outscored by 14. It's chasing a bit tonight. That's the only thing. It's at what point do you still recognize the fact that this offense funnels through Scotty, Siakam, and Gary Trent Jr. tonight? So I don't usually like playing fourth options on an offense. And if you are doing that, if he's not chalk, I'm okay for it. But if anything, that's like a pivot over Daniel Gafford. You can't like the double center build with Gafford and Precious is likely going to be very popular. So it's one thing to because they're all going to skyrocket in rostership, right? So Scotty, Gary Trent, Pascal, like especially that they're all forward eligible, they're likely all going to skyrocket up. And forward's an absolute disaster today. So
it's a good point.
I just built the lineup. It's exposure to all the games. Same thing. I already had prepared for Fred being out, and it's the same thing. One Clipper, one Rocket. Get Warriors exposure. If it's not going to be Curry, it's going to be Payton, Wiggins, Poole, etc. Luka's a lock button for me. And then you need a Timberwolf on the other side of your Warriors plays. That's it. This doesn't really change all that much for me. Everyone's going to flock to the Raptors, and you can't play 3-4 of these guys. It's not that big of a game. It's a big game. It's not that big of a game.
Yeah, temper your lineups a little bit, right? To make sure you spread them out, obviously. But again, give us a follow at windailysports.com. Follow the Sharp app, subscribe, hit the follow. But most importantly, to keep engaging. Hashtag Props for Profit, hashtags FFVP. You'll see the tweet go out about a half hour of the plays that we have, what we're looking at. Feel free, hit the plus button and add to the thread. Throw out what you got. It doesn't have to be tickets. A lot of people listen. People that have DM. Do I got to point? No, it's fine. Just write down what you want. Jimmy, can we go back to 3 Toronto forwards together? Otto Porter if he starts. It's the same Zubac question, right? But again, as always, everybody, thanks for checking in. We're every night we really appreciate everybody joining us here. There's going to be a lot of news. It's 6:01 right now. So again, you got about an hour before lock for some games. Be careful. Like we talked about, we're not playing any of the first couple games anyway. But
yeah, outside of Gafford, it starts at 7:30.
Gafford is 7. Okay, so
but outside of that, it's 7:30 lock basically.
Yeah, so everybody
just
keep it locked. Keep it locked. Discord, make sure you're checking out. Adam Ghost will be in there. I'll be in there every now and then as well. But as always, everybody stay safe, stay healthy. We'll catch you tomorrow night. Same time, same channel. Be safe. Peace.